Hello everyone, happy Wednesday and happy new mini catalog launch day. So very happy that you are here with me. Going to give you a minute or two to jump on and say hi. And that will give me the opportunity to find the video so I can see the comments. Hope everybody had a wonderful day. Kids starting back to school. Let's see. Let's go here. And take the volume off of there because we don't need to hear me twice. Hello, Jennifer. So glad you could join us. Okay. Hello, Lynette. So in case you guys didn't know, today is the launch day of the September to December 2023 mini catalog. Tonight and this week, my projects and posts will feature the Rustic Crate stamp set and the Rustic Crate dies. And you can find them on page 46 in the catalog. Here is the stamp set. And here are the dies. Now, of course, you can purchase these individually, or you can purchase them as a bundle, which saves you 10% off of both items. Okay, so that is our product for the week. And I used the Rustic Crate a couple of weeks ago in a project when I featured the Abundant Beauty Decorative Masks. But we're going to go ahead and use the other images in our projects tonight. So I have one 3D project and one card for you. And then I've got some additional inspiration. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. It's about 7:02. No reason to dilly-dally here. Let's get on with it. As a reminder, be sure to check the online exclusives. We had some designer series papers that are special that went into the online exclusives today. There's also some new mugs that are in the branded merchandise, so be sure to check those out online. You won't find them in any publication. As well as for my subscribers, I sent out an email today that it's time to register for World Card Making Day, and there was a stamp set and punch that you can get either separately or as a bundle to participate in the World Card Making Day event. So I just want to throw those out there. Let's go ahead and get started with our 3D project. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that is up front. This is the project that we will be making tonight. And of course you could put whatever you want in it, but I've taken a square Ziploc sandwich or snack bag and filled it with 1/3 of a cup excuse me, of trail mix, and tied that with some copper clay ribbon, textured ribbon. This is out of the annual catalog. And that is just going to fit right in there. This box is quick and easy to make. The longest part is the coloring. So let's go ahead and get started on that. The supplies are few. You need a piece of crumb cake cardstock. This is 4 inches by 4 inches, so of course you can get 4 of these boxes out of an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. Then I've got a piece of Very Vanilla for stamping and die cutting. And other than our featured bundle and some Stampin' Blends and ink pads, which we'll be using copper clay, early espresso, and pecan pie for those, for our ink pads. And then we've got our Stampin' Blends. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay those out here for you. So if you want to snap a picture, you can. Of course, you'll find a complete supply list on my blog tomorrow. So let's see, I like to put my lights and darks together. Now, I'm not using all of the combos, but here we go. So there, you can snap yourself a quick photo shot if you want. Those are the colors that we'll be making. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Laura. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to start with some early espresso ink. Normally, when we use Stampin' Blends, we say to use Memento, but we can use our classic inks. So we're going to go ahead, and I need 2 of these. Stamp those in early espresso just because I liked how it looked better than the Memento. So we're using that. Now, of course, to save us some time, I have already colored and die cut these, but I did want to show you how I colored. So we're going to do a quick little color here, and I'll show you how I did this. So I started with a dark Cajun Craze on my pumpkins, and I'm just going to go into these darker shadowed areas and around the outside edge, around those flower petals where they meet with the pumpkin, because there would be a shadow there and it would be darker. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to round around the edge of this pumpkin because that would also be darker. Then I'm going to go in with the artist markings here on these pumpkins. And again, taking my blend around the outside edge just at the bottom and there underneath the flower petals. And then we're going to move to light Cajun Craze. And I'm just going to pull that color out a bit with the light Cajun Craze, just so that when I go to my next color, it's not quite as harsh. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do with this one, this is the light Cajun Craze, I'm going to go around the edges of these divots in the pumpkins, just to give that a little definition. Okay, and I'm good with that. So then I'm going to go back with my light pumpkin pie, and I'm going to blend that all together. Okay, I'm making sure that I'm going up into that dark Cajun Craze, or the light Cajun Craze, I mean, just to blend that all together so I don't have very harsh lines. Okay, so now the pumpkins are complete. Okay, for the sunflowers on this particular project, we're going to start with some light pumpkin pie, and I'm just going to go at the very middle here. Both of these with the light pumpkin pie. And then I'm going to look at these areas where my petals are in the back and they're overlapped by other petals. Whoops, and that was not where I needed to be. It's okay, we can fix that. That's the leaf. That's the nice thing about blends. You can always fix those things. Okay, so we've got that. Then I'm going to go back now with my Daffodil Delight. And again, I'm looking at those artist lines for the veins on those petals. And I'm just pulling that orange up a little bit with those petals, just with those lines there. If you forget a petal, it's no big deal. Just go back with the color you're on and put a little bit of definition in there. And finally, we're going to go in with the light Daffodil Delight. And again, I'm just going to blend this all together. And that will give us quite a bit of definition on those flowers. Okay. So they really do color up quite quickly. Doesn't take that long. And of course, for this project, you're going to need 2. Okay, so we've got that. Now the pumpkin pie dark, I'm just going to take and put right here in the center of the sunflowers. And then for the leaves on my pumpkin, I'm going to take the dark lemon lime twist and the dark granny apple green. I'm going to start with dark granny apple green. And again, I'm going to go where these petals meet the leaf with my dark, and then the artist veins. I'm going to add that dark granny apple green in there as well. And see, now you can't even tell that I messed up on that white pumpkin pie. I just went right over the top of that with the granny apple green. And now you don't even know I did it. Okay, so then I'm going to go back with my dark lemon lime twist. And I'm going to color those up. Okay, so those are now finished. Now for my corn, I actually started with dark pumpkin pie. And I'm going to put in just some little dabs of the dark pecan pie here and there. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Just adding it in. And I'm going to go in with the dark wild wheat. Oh, and I switched my image. Okay, let's fix that up. And I'm going to do the same thing with the wild wheat. Let me go back and add that dark pumpkin pie where it's supposed to be. Or pecan pie, not pumpkin pie. Okay, so now we've got that in again. Real simple. And then we're going to take the dark Daffodil Delight. I'm going to fill that in. All over the top. Just like that. Okay, and finally, we're going to take the dark old olive. And on these leaves, I'm just going to put a little bit right here where the leaf bends over. And on the veining. And then next to the petals that overlap. And then I'm going to go back and fill that in with the dark old, or the light old olive. Just coloring right over the top. And there you have it. And the final touch, of course, because what would my flowers be without a little bit of wink right around the center. Okay, so we've got that. Then I would take my Rustic Crate dies and the coordinating dies that go with that, and I would run that through my mini cut and emboss machine and cut that out. And through the magic of Facebook Live, this is what we have. Okay? So we can set those aside and begin making our box. Okay. So this cardstock, the crumb cake cardstock here, is 4 inches by 4 inches. And that measurement is specifically for the size of the stamp that we're going to use. That's how I came up with my measurements. I wanted to use this image right here, so I stamped it out and measured it, and then I made my box based on that measurement. So we're going to score this on all 4 sides at 7/8 of an inch. Okay. Just like that. And that is all there is to that. Now we're going to bring back in our stamp paper here, our scrap paper. And we're going to get out the crate front, and using copper clay, I'm going to stamp this on all 4 sides. Now, I need to keep in mind that I'm going to fold this. And if I do this now, then I can see where I need to go. Actually, I think I might move this to here. Okay, so this, when I fold this, these sides are going to be here. So I need to look at, this is going to be the top. Okay. So I'm going to take and ink these up. And then I'm going to try and stamp this right in that square. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate. And I'm going to repeat that on all 4 sides. Okay. Just like so. All right. Now, while I've already got that stamped off, I'm going to pull back in my piece here. And I'm going to stamp this off one more time lightly, and then I'm going to stamp it again. Okay? And you'll see why I did that in a moment. Okay. So then we're going to take a sentiment with a grateful heart. And again, using the copper clay. This with a grateful heart comes from the autumn leaves. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. I buried it underneath my catalog. The autumn leaves with a grateful heart. This is the stamp set that we featured last week. And I was thinking that this would make a lovely Thanksgiving table favor. So we are just going to stamp that down like so. And now we have our sentiment piece. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish putting this together. We'll grab our paper snips. And I like to cut from the inside. It's just easier for me. And I'm going to snip up on this score line, this first outside score line to the first score line horizontally. So up on the vertical to the first horizontal. And I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to do that both sides. And then I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. And I'm going to do the same thing up on the outside, or the edge of this first these score marks to the first horizontal, and then I'm going to cut that out and angle cut the top. I'm going to cut out the score line and angle cut the outside edge, cut out the score line, angle the outside edge. I need to make sure I really get that angled there, and then again cut out the score line and angle the outside edge. Okay, and when I'm done, that's what it looks like. Now we're going to get some tear and tape. This tear and tape is my friend. And we're going to close up our box here. So let's put this down. I like to use my ruler to tear it so that I get a straight edge. And I like to put it on in equal signs. Okay. I like to go right next to the edge that's going to adhere, because I don't like gapes. So I try to pay attention to what's going to fold in and be the edge so that my tape is right here. And that way I don't get gaps on my side. So we've got all of that. Now you're going to want to remove your backing all at the same time. And trust me, you definitely want to do it all at the same time, because it just is so much harder to do once you start actually putting the box together. So we're going to, I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. That's my favorite tool, especially for removing these wax paper backings, because I can get up under there, whoa, and give that a good peel. Really helps me lift it and get between those two layers. And if your Take Your Pick tip gets gummed up, you just take a alcohol wipe and wipe it off, and it'll be good as new. So we're going to take this and we're going to put the folded edge to the cut edge. Okay, we're going to do that on all four sides. This is one of the easiest boxes you'll ever make. Okay, and then I'm going to take a look here and see which one I like the best for the front. Which one did I stamp the best? It's not that one, or that one, or that one. We're going to use this one right here. Okay, then I'm going to take my sentiment here, and I'm going to grab my trimmer. Trim this down. Start this way, and I didn't stamp it terrifically straight, so I'm going to have to try and straighten this up with my cutting and hope I get it right, which I didn't. Okay, I want to go this way a bit. There we go. Let's see. Yep, good enough. Okay, and then I'm going to go on the other side. Actually, let's go this way. It'll be easier, I think. And I just make sure that my letters are not in the track. And then I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut this off here, and I'm going to cut it right at the marks there, right at the edge of that mark. What are those called? Oh no, it's the wood piece, the corner wood piece, I guess. And I'm going to cut both of those. Okay. And I'm going to take this. I'm going to grab my pieces here that we stamped. Get my glue, my Tombow glue. And I'm going to put just a little bit of glue at the bottom here, just like so. You don't need a bunch. And then I'm going to put this pumpkin edge down in first, and then I'll lean that down until that top of that second leaf, the little lip on this second leaf, you can tell here. It's this edge right here. And then I'm going to give that a press. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it 180. I'm going to repeat that process. Okay, these would make a great fall wedding favor too for the table. Maybe you're doing a fall bridal shower or something. There we go. So now we've got that. Now what we have left to do is get some Stampin' Dimensionals here. I'm going to put this on our sentiment. I'm going to find that front side that we like the best again. And then we're going to add our sentiment to the front of our box and try and line up those pieces a little bit. And then there we are. Okay. And finally then we can take our little bag of treats and our 3D package is completed. Just like that. Minimal supplies, minimal time, and you've got yourself a really cute table favor. Okay, so there you have it. Let's get on to our next project, shall we? We'll put a few things away here, clean up a little bit of the mess. I don't want some of those to go very far because I think we might be reusing some of those blends. Okay. So there we have it. Okay, so for our next project, let me set that turn tape aside. We've got a card that we're going to put together. And this is a great layout that you can easily adapt to any card. Okay? Very simple, takes limited supplies when you do it like this. Okay. In this case, I used 1 pack of 6x6 Designer Series paper, the inked botanicals, and then I used some basic cardstock and the stamp set and dies, and there we have it. Okay. So for this one, we're going to start with, a card base that I didn't cut. So let's grab that. Forgive me for that. Okay, so we need a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock. And when I'm doing card bases, I tend to do 2 at a time. So I'll take a piece of 8.5 by 11. This is Lost Lagoon. I'm going to put it in at 4 1/4. And I'm going to score all the way. And then I'm going to rotate it and to the 11-inch side, and I'm going to cut it at 5.5. And now I have 2 card bases ready to go. Because if you're going to make 1 card, you might as well make 2. I'll set that aside for another use. So we've got an 8.5 by 11-inch card base, scored at 4 1/4, and of course that makes the standard A2 card size. Give that a good burnish. And then we have a piece of Pretty Peacock. Now I've embossed the Pretty Peacock. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and I've embossed it with the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. Just run that through your die cutting machine. Okay, so we've got that for the front. We've got a scrap of Very Vanilla, and this is for our stamping. And then we've got 3 pieces of the Inked Botanicals 6x6 paper. And I know you guys have seen this because I love this pack of paper, and I've used it quite a bit. We'll just give you a quick look at that. So many good patterns to be used for every occasion. And it lent itself well to this project. So I've got a piece of, okay, I think I forgot my Very Vanilla. That was 3x4. I did. You need another piece of 3x4-inch vanilla. Well, you don't, okay, let me rephrase that. You don't necessarily need it, but it will make it a little bit easier for you if you have it. It is not a necessity, because you can take this 3-inch. The reason that you're using it is so that you can line up your DSPs, okay? So we're not actually going to see this piece of Very Vanilla, okay? So the idea here is that we take this piece and add it to our cardstock, and we might as well do that right now. And because that's a 3D embossing folder, hang on, I got a little glue booger there. So I'm just gonna put on some Tombow there and glue this down. Tombow works best for these 3D embossing folders. Okay, plus I get a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so got that. Now, I could take, oh, wait a minute, I didn't need that 3x4 because I'm using a 3x4 of this. That's why I didn't have the 3x4 vanilla. Hello. So I've got this 3x4 piece of the Inked Botanicals. Okay. Then this piece of the Inked Botanicals is 1 7/8 by 4 3/4. And then I've got this piece of the Inked Botanicals that is 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. Now, with the 3x4 piece of Very Vanilla, what I could do is I could save myself some paper, some designer series paper if I'm low on paper, and I could cut this at 1 1/4 inch, glue it to my piece here, and then that would show me where to put my taller piece on the right. Does that make sense? Because that would just save you a bit of DSP. And you can do that, okay? Or you can just use the 3x4 piece here. Your choice. I chose on this card to use the 3x4, but I'll show for those who are going to the live event on Saturday. You'll see that we'll be using a white piece for this and doing it the other way. Okay, so we can go ahead and add this to our cardstock, and again, because it's going on the 3D embossed, I'm going to use some liquid glue. Okay. And I am just going to put that down like that. Okay. And then I'm going to add this piece of the crushed curry flowery pattern. And I'm going to center this top and bottom here. Okay. But I'm going to put it right over to the edge of this 3x4 piece. Okay. And again, because I'm going down on the 3D embossing folder with the top and the bottom of this piece, I chose to use liquid. And I didn't get it down there the way I want it, so I've got a little bit of wiggle room time that I can straighten that up with the liquid glue. Okay? So now I'm going to add this piece, and I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal for this. It's not going to adhere to any embossed areas. So I'm just going to put this down right here. Now, this is the sketch that you would use, just like this, okay? And then use any designer series paper, any pattern in the back. You don't have to emboss it. You could stamp some images there, leave it plain, and then just put whatever image you would like to put in this area. Okay, so we're going to finish that up now. We're going to, again, I'm going to stamp one of those crate pieces again. So I need to clean my stamp, which I've set down right here. Ugh. Probably got a mess now because of where I set it. That's okay. It's on my silicone mat, so that'll clean up easy. Okay, and this time we're going to stamp on the crumb cake cardstock, and we're going to use Early Espresso ink. Okay, for this one. So, whoa, fumble fingers today. Okay, so we're just going to stamp this down. And it doesn't matter whether it's crooked or it's straight, as long as it's good on the paper, because we're going to die cut that out. Okay, so we've got that. And then, let's get, I gotta clean that because I don't want ink everywhere. And I see that happening at this point. Okay, so we've got that piece. Now, with our very vanilla, we needed one more scrap of this little one, but I've already cut it out, so it doesn't matter. You need to have a scrap big enough for this and a very small little tag. So we're going to take this, and we're going to stamp our image, which in this case we're using the herb image. And this time I am going to use the Memento black. And this is a larger stamp, so I like to take my ink pad to my stamp. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp that down. Okay, now, while you're stamping this image, you'll want to pull out your inside piece and stamp part of the image on either side or in the middle, whatever you choose. And then I also stamped on my envelope. So you might as well get it all at once. We're only going to do this one. Okay, I'm just going to give you a quick show on how I colored this and what I used. So let's bring those blends in, and I'll show you what I used here. Let's put them this way so you can see them nicely. Oh, let's try putting these darks and lights together, shall we? Easier for you. Okay, so this is what we have for those that we're going to use. This will allow you to take a screenshot if you so choose. Okay, so let's get these pieces moved over here. And we're going to start with this. Now, I'm just going to color a little bit here. I'm not going to color the whole thing because, of course, I've already colored and die cut to save us some time. So for the image here, we're going to start with the dark and light Pretty Peacock. And all I did here with the dark is I literally went in and just put a dab at the end of each petal near the stem. Okay, that's all I did. And then I took the light Pretty Peacock and I went back, and from the top of the leaf I swipe down to the base of the petal so that it doesn't bleed outside the top. Okay, so that's what I did with that set. Then with the next set of whatever that herb is, I took light Granny Apple Green and the light Lemon Lime Twist. And I'm going to take the light Granny Apple Green and I'm going to swipe a little curve at the base and then the veins in the leaf on those with the Granny Apple Green. Okay, just like that. And then go back with the light Lemon Lime Twist and fill that in. Go right over the top of that Granny Apple Green. Blend it all together. And that's how I did that herb. All right, moving on. We're going to move to dark and light Lost Lagoon. Now these ones are so tiny that you can use just the dark, just the light, or you can tap here and there on these tiny little petals. Fill some in with the dark on the teeny tiny ones, and then go back with the light and fill in whatever you haven't filled in, just so that you get a little bit of interest in and depth in color. But you don't necessarily need the depth of color on each leaf, so just tap that color in. You don't want to actually color. These are so tiny that if you try to color, you're going to have bleeding outside. So just a tiny little tap and those are finished, okay? And finally, with the dark and light shaded spruce, I'm going to do the last herb. And again, I'm just dabbing in a little bit of the dark at the stem. And literally just dabbing. Just a little dot here and there. Okay. And then we're going to go back with the light shaded spruce and fill that in. Again, I like to start at the tip of the leaf and work my way toward the stem. I just find I have less bleeding when I do that. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to take my light pool party and I'm going to outline my image right here quickly. You don't necessarily have to be perfect on this. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to swipe in some pool party. And you will see why in a minute. Okay, so we're going to fill in this. This just makes it so that it will look like we cut it when we really didn't. Okay, and you can tell I am really not being super careful. This pool party is so light that if it mixes a little bit with the other colors, it doesn't, you're not going to notice. Okay. So I would do that for the whole thing. And then I would cut it out. And using the Rustic Crate dies, I would have these two pieces. I'm going to cut a deckled circle. Those circles just released today. And this is deckled circle number, let me look here. I wrote it down. Well, I think I did. Number 9. Okay. So the deckled circles, if you haven't seen them, you get 14 of them, and I used number 9 for this circle. Okay? And this is in Very Vanilla. Okay, so we're going to take this Very Vanilla circle. Oh, here, see, I had this cut to stamp. Or, no, this is for the tag. This is my scrap piece for my tag, which should be right here. And this little tag that we're going to use, cut from a scrap of crumb cake, is from the Cracker and Treat Box dies. Guys, if you don't have this, you need to get this. It has so many good labels and extra pieces other than just the Cracker and Treat Box die that it is well worth it for these wingman dies. Okay, so we've got those pieces. Now let's set all these pieces aside. And we're going to do a little bit of ink blending here. So we need green, and what did I do with my green brush? Well, we're going to use this one. I think this will work. We better get some ink out. Oh, I already grabbed the green brush. Silly me. I need the pool party brush. That's the brush I need. I had the green one. Okay. Yep, that's got pool party on it. And actually, this has enough pool party on it, I think, that I can just take an ink blend that, because I didn't clean it when I made my sample card. Okay, so I just want some pool party on there. So I've got that on the top half. And then I'm going to get my lemon lime twist, I think. Yeah, lemon lime twist. And did you guys know this? When you are ink blending and you want to be able to hold your pad, right? You have to grab it. But if you put your silicone mat, which I had here a minute ago, and now I don't know where I set it. Oh, I covered it up again. If you take your silicone mat and you set your ink pad on there, then you can brush hands-free, okay? You don't have to hold on to that. It's not going anywhere. It's going to grip that silicone mat. So we're just going to take and put a little bit of lemon lime twist at the bottom of that circle. Okay. Just a tip on the silicone mat for holding your pads. It makes life a whole lot easier when you're ink blending. Okay, so now we've got that piece done. We can begin putting this together after we stamp our sentiment. So we've got the little tag from the Cracker and Treat dies. And we're going to take the For You, which also comes from the Autumn Leaves. Or no, sorry, it comes from the Rustic Crate right here. So far on this card, we've used the crate image, the herbs, and we're going to use the sentiment For You. I love that little sentiment. And we're going to do that again in the Early Espresso. Man, I have this little hair that just doesn't want to get out of my way. Funny part is I have my hair in a ponytail. Okay, so here we go. Let's just stamp that in. You don't want to press too hard on these because you'll squish your letters. So it's just a gentle touch there. Okay, so now we have our pieces. Let's go ahead and put this together. Finish this up. We're going to add our ink blended circle to our card base. And I'm going to do that with a little bit of Stampin' Seal. And you can put this high, low, wherever you want. I'm going to put it about right here. Okay. And then I'm going to, again, I'm going to take that crate and I'm going to add my herbs. But to do that, I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue at the bottom of my herbs to secure that on the crate where I want it. So I'm going to dry fit that. See how I want that to look. And then I'm going to add my herbs onto my crate. Okay? And then I'm going to flip this over, add dimensionals, and then adhere it to my card base. And I don't like my cards to sag, so I'm going to use 5 dimensionals. But you do you. Okay. And then I'm just going to put this down here like so. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to take my sentiment and with a dab of Stampin' Seal, I'm going to put this on kind of at an angle about right there. I'm not going to press it down too hard in case I wish to move it, but I need it anchored at the moment. And then I'm going to bring in my Baker's Twine Essentials pack. You get 5 in this pack. You get Very Vanilla, Crumb Cake, Black, Gray Granite, and White. And I'm going to use the Very Vanilla tonight. And of course you know I like to tie the bows with my bow jig. So I'm going to put this up here, or wrap this twice. Go under and over, and then take my loose end, make a loop and go through and tie that taut. And then I'm going to cut that off. And there is my bow. Now I've got a nice double loop bow I didn't have to struggle with. I'm going to take a mini glue dot here and my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to take the end of my Take Your Pick tool and I'm going to roll that up. And I'm going to put that right there over the hole on my tag. And then I'm going to take my bow and attach it like so. Making sure that I don't cover up my sentiment. Okay. And the final thing for this project is the in-color pearls, which, who knows where I moved them to? I have them in my bucket here, but now I don't see them. Okay, well, let's, I don't know where they've gotten to. You know, of course, I'll find them as soon as we're done. Right in front of my nose, because that's the way it works. Okay, well, I would have put the in-color pearls on. I don't see them, so let's pick something else because we can. Okay, so we could do, let's see, what's in the tinsel gems that'll work? Nothing. Anybody have any ideas? Sure would like to find what I did with those in color jewels that should be sitting right here in front of my nose. Okay, I don't think those are going to work. Nope, I don't like that. Okay, let's punt. I was going to use the Parakeet Party in color pearls, but we're just going to change it up. And I'm going to take the dark lemon lime twist, Stampin' Blend marker, and I'm going to color my pearls now. Okay, so I'm going to color two small ones. I like to use my bullet tip for this. And then I want a large one here. Actually, these have small, medium, and large, don't they? Or no, just small, just large. And I guess there are only two sizes. Okay. Well, now we can take our Take Your Pick tool. And we'll put on a small one right here, a large one right here, and another small one down there. Okay, that's what you do when you can't find your gems. You just make your own. All right, so for the inside of this card then, we've got this, and I just took a strip of that Botanicals, inked Botanicals paper, stamped and colored those images in the same fashion that I showed you. Put a piece of Stampin', or put some Stampin' Seal at the top. And there we are. Okay, now let's take a look at some additional samples, just so that you can see this layout again and how easily it adapts. Okay, so I've got, okay, here is another card. This also uses the Rustic Crate, but we went from the herbs. Here I've used this is the Fresh as a Daisy. This is the Fresh as a Daisy piece, 1.5 by 3 3/4. And then these two pieces come from the Earthen Elegance pack of DSP. I've used Blackberry Bliss and the Fall Leaf embossing folder on this card. And then the card base is in Moody Mauve, These are colored with Blackberry Bliss and the 2 Moody Mauves. And then I pretty much did the rest the same way I showed you. Okay, so we've got that. And that's a good example of that sketch. Okay, and then, of course, we're going to be using this sketch again on Saturday at my in-person event, and I'll be sure to post a picture of that after the event, but I don't want to ruin the surprise for those ladies who are attending. So here are cards that I made before using this same Rustic Crate. I wanted to show you the 3 images and how you can make this one stamp set go the whole year. Actually, you could, because these could be any spring, summer, whatever. You've got poinsettias. This could be a winter birthday colored in red. It becomes a Christmas. And then you've got fall Thanksgiving. Okay? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much. Lynette, thank you. That's so sweet of you. I'm so glad you enjoyed that. Let me get these a little bit better centered up for you, because for some reason they're like way out of the picture there. All right, so there are your ideas. Here's the 3D project that we made. Very simple. Easy, easy to put together. Okay. All right, you guys, just as a reminder, next week I will be live on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. That's Tuesday, not Wednesday. I'll be in Dallas running my granddaughter to ballet at the time I should be live, so I've had to change that, and that Tuesday nights will be going forward for at least this school year. And, of course, next year, who knows what happens with the dance schedule. We just adapt. But thank you for coming. I'm so glad that you enjoyed yourself. And I will see you next week on Tuesday. Good night, everybody.